sir. How are you doing?
I'm fine, madam.
My name is Festa.
I'm Mzali Charles.
Nice to meet you.
Me too.
Why are Africans poor?
There are a number of reasons why Africans are poor. If you compare to some years back, around the 80s, African countries, most of them were basing on agriculture. But as per now, agriculture has become a problem because of the climatic changes. So when they plant some crops, you find that somebody is going out of empty-handed. Even getting what to eat is a problem. And according to the UN Convention of around in 2000s, they come up with a comment that no any country or any country which is going to be out of poverty when they are still buying food in their houses, and which is true. So African countries, most of the Africans in their homes, they are now reaching the extent of buying food in their houses, and which mostly going to affect their saving culture, because you find that the earning is little, and what they have earned is they are buying food. What they are planting is not coming. Even you go to the villages, people are now buying food. So don't expect such economies in the African continent to be out of poverty because of the climatic changes. People are getting agriculture, but they are not getting anything. They said they are buying food. Even taking children to the school is now a problem. Now schools are going back, but they don't have nowhere to begin from. To even cash crops, those were like coffee, cotton, those cash crops were helping much. But if you go to some African countries, they dropped up that kind of agricultural practice, and so they're out of the cash. Coffee, very many few countries which are producing coffee. Now, for the example, for the case of Uganda, they have just started again to come up. Moving, they have been encouraged, educated, so that you please go back to our culture of growing coffee, cotton. Some countries have already given up with that. So it has also affected our African countries. Then another one is maybe corruption. Most of the African countries, the corruption rate is becoming rampant. Every year, corruption is what? Is increasing. Okay, so whichever money which the government is trying to ensure that can be distributed to the ground to help people, you end up that those who are in the government officials, they end up grabbing the money which is for the low income earners, the ground. So it has also affected what? The African countries. Corruption is also a major, and even most of the African heads of states, they are complaining of that. Corruption. Even in our country, Uganda. Yes, corruption, even our president said, no, this corruption is increasing. You people let us come together, because if we are going to this extent that even money to be given out, either in terms of hospitals, either in terms of roads, either in terms of agriculture, whether in terms of is not reaching to the ground, then mostly people are going to serve because there not be access to services, something of that sort for free. So if people reach the extent of pulling out their actual coins from their pockets, then mostly they are at household level, then no increase is going to take place, something of that sort. Then another one is illiteracy rate. Yes, some of the families are not educated, and yes, there are families which have come out of poverty due to education. They are learned. Others, they go to other countries. They get jobs in in governments. They get jobs in NGOs. But you find that some families, they have family members which are not educated. So they keep on rotating that kind of state. Education, illiteracy rate in the communities within African countries is above the average, still above the average. Yes, something of that sort. So it's also one of the problems which is affecting our African. Then even politics. Yeah, politics. is that you find that some governments in African countries, they are not having, how do you call it, performance strategies towards to fighting poverty. They have poor performance strategies, something of that sort. So just say, let us give money for this one, is going for this. They have not even carried out research whether people, the program they are introducing in certain communities where it will be implemented, whether it will achieve its stated goals. They end up just like that. So it's also a weakness. Some African governments, they have failed to come up with a good performance strategies which can empower these people to be out of poverty. Yeah, something of that sort. Then another one is a violation of human rights, especially on the side of women. Yes, some countries, the rights of women are not being protected. Yes, because others, they are not even allowed to work. Yes, others, they just grab what they have done. Okay, a woman is trying, and yet now they are the one carrying out the responsibilities within African countries. Women, they are also contributing much. They are the ones taking children to school. They are the ones who take them to hospitals. Others, the extent of constructing houses, something over like that. But you end up that most of their struggles in coming out of poverty is being violated by their husbands. Okay, something over like that. Maybe even the African governments, something of that sort. So it's also affecting the problem. Then another one is revenue. African governments, they are reaching the extent that they are taxing the business communities. Business communities. Yes, so, and which is at high rate because there are very many taxes, local government taxes, central taxes, which goes to Yara directly, and even others, something of that sort. So you find that those people who are engaging in the businesses, they are failing to balance their books. And most of their business, they import things from other countries like China, Japan, America, Canada, something over that. But you find that to reach where they are selling their properties, the business premises, they have incurred many taxes, and which is affecting their, yes. So don't expect such economy to be out of poverty when the taxes are high, which is being imposed by the African governments. Also, they need to be checked up. There must be at least a release, something of like a breathing space for them. Yeah, it also has affected like that. The another one is rent. Rent is also a problem in African states. Yes, because most of the business premises are owned by foreigners and they charge them in foreigner currencies and they are crying. And when you come to the nationals, you find that also the business the business premise owners, like the landlords, the rent, they charge a lot of money. Okay? And yet the poverty is in the economy. And you find that the sales, the revenues of that business is low. Is low. So you find that, and yet every month you have to pay. Every month you have to pay. Every month you have to pay. So you find that somebody's capital has already gone and he has not done anything. Why? Because of the rent being much. Okay? Yes. The money in circulation is low, but you find somebody is not selling, and when the month ends, you have to pay. You have to pay. You have to pay. Someone have started like a 10 million, you find that after 1 year, there's no way here. He just closes. So don't expect such a person to be out of poverty or to create jobs for other people to come and work with that one. Something of that sort. Another one is the minimum wage. Yes, minimum wage in African states. For example, in Africa, we have only one country. For us, we as Ugandans, which we are praising of, is Kenya. Because Kenya, they have a minimum wage. They have bothered to protect their nationalists. Whether you are a Kenyan as an investor, whether you are a foreigner, it is a must that you have to incur a minimum wage. So some African states, like our country, Uganda, we are still battling. The parliament is still battling with the president, convincing him that please let this Ugandans or any other person who come to work in Uganda be at least with a minimum wage. Okay? Yes. So we are inviting foreigners, investors, you come, but we are not having minimum wage. So workers in Uganda or in Africa in general, okay, they are being paid their money in the way they want. In the way they want. So how do you expect somebody to earn every year. That's wage or salary every year. And yet the cost of living is what? It's increasing. Now this is a new year. Okay? In Kenya, expect to increase the salary for their workers. It's by law. If you don't want, close up your company and go to anywhere. Something, that's a law. It's a one of fighting poverty. Yes, somebody will know that next year my salary is going to increase. Something of that sort. Yeah, even others, these foreigners, even others, they don't want to pay the NSSF. NSSF, they don't want to pay. Paying NSSF to African countries, in African countries is also a problem. They don't want to pay. So all of those kind of, it's also a challenge. Minimum wage is affecting African states because in some of the African countries, they don't have minimum wage. The only country which we can praise of is Kenya. Because at least for them, their rights, protection of labor, workers' rights in the investments, either by a foreigner or by a nationalist, it is not there. So it's one of the challenges which has very few. That's what I can manage to say. Yes. Another question?
I've really learnt a lot. That's interesting and wow.